everyone, this is Ian Miller,
What's going on, guys? It's Andrew.
and welcome back to another episode of Media Talk with Merlin Smith. Tonight, it's a very special episode because, my friends, myself, Andrew Smith, and Andrew Feller, we went back, back. You ask, back where? Back to the future. That's right.
We're sending you back to the future.
We just saw Back to the Future in the theaters on Halloween night for the 40th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
It looked pretty good on the big screen, didn't it?
It did. Considering I obviously never saw the movie in theaters when it came out.
Yeah.
But no, it was really great experience to see it on the big screen like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, even though we've seen the film many times, but obviously through our experiences as kids, or just seeing it again as adults on, DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, it's still exciting. We still, get excited about certain scenes, about certain lines,
Mm-hmm.
and the visual effects have never looked spectacular. And this was actually remastered in Dolby, which was
Yeah.
which was a kick-ass sound.
No, definitely. It was pretty great sound from beginning to end, so it was awesome.
Yeah. And we thought, since this is the 40th anniversary, we should probably discuss how this movie was made.
Yes.
I mean, just think about it for a second. This was a number one hit in 1985, which spawned two sequels, an animated series, video games, a slew of comic books, and a musical. Yeah, and a hit musical, I might add. Very well adaptation.
Yeah, that was I believe we saw that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot the actor who played Marty. But the
Yeah.
one that played Doc, Roger Bart did a really great job.
Yeah. That's no easy feat, trying to do an impression of Christopher Lloyd, as Doc Brown. Ugh.
Yeah. And we said it in when we saw the show that um the one that played George McFly was a splitting image of
Uh,
Crispin Glover.
yeah, it was unbelievable. It was phenomenal, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, we're actually going to take a look back, and helping us is going to be this visual guide. This is actually from the 35th anniversary of the films. So let's go back in time. Now, it actually started with the co-screenwriter Bob Gale, who actually made a pilgrimage to his family home and discovered his father's yearbook. And they found his father's accomplishments in there. And he had the crazy idea of, if he went to high school with his father, would he have been friends with him or would he have hated him?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes back and tells Robert Zemeckis, the director, this idea. And they started thinking about doing a time travel story. At this point, they were still working at Columbia Pictures. And the head of Columbia Pictures, had liked their work and said if they had any new ideas, they would come to him first. So they pitched this idea of a kid going back in time and meeting his parents. And soon they were hired to write two drafts of the script. Now, of course, the screenwriting process is very long. And once they finished it, they felt they were confident to take it to the studio head, who rejected it immediately. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because Columbia Pictures at the time, and still is, it was looking for raunchier comedies.
Mm-hmm.
But both Gale and Zemeckis felt that this was too good of an idea, so they started shipping it around. They said to several studios. Everyone turned them down. Then they took it to their friend Steven Spielberg. Will many of you know who that is?
Who's that?
Just a guy that wears a bald cap with glasses. Directed.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
Jaws. Indiana Jones. E.T. Yeah, that guy. That guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, okay. Got it.
And apparently Spielberg got the idea immediately, and he wanted to be part of the production. But they felt they didn't want to rely on Steven because they had done two films with him, and they were box office duds. In fact, they wrote a Steven Spielberg film called 1941, which was a comedy, and it did not do on the box office.
Yeah.
So they did not want to rely on it. So while they were shopping, at the studios, every single one of them said, "Take it to Disney, take it to Disney, take it to Disney." So they set them in with the Disney people. The Disney people read the script and go, "Are you insane? The scene in the car with the mom? No, no." And at that point, that was it. They shelved it for a while, and Zemeckis decided to direct the next film that he would get. And that turned out to be Romancing the Stone, and that became a big box office hit.
Hmm.
And that was a adventure comedy with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. Definitely huge number one stars at that time. And suddenly, everyone was after Zemeckis because he had a box office hit, and they wanted his next project. So they took Back to the Future off the shelf and went back to Steven Spielberg. And it was going to be the first feature film, an Emblem production that didn't have Steven directing it.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, the script had already been through three drafts. And they started looking for actors almost immediately. Now, ironically, the first actor they really wanted it for as Marty McFly was actually Michael J. Fox. Unfortunately, he was not available at the time because he was working on Family Ties, a hit sitcom on CBS. So that caused a lot of problems, as you can imagine. So while they were looking for Marty McFly, they started looking at Doc Brown. And here are some of the casting choices they were actually looking at. Jeff Goldblum, John Lithgow, Peter Boyle, Donald Sutherland, Gene Hackman,
Oh boy.
John Cleese, Gene Wilder,
Oh.
Harold Ramis, Chevy Chase. I was completely shocked by that one. Danny DeVito, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I don't see how Eddie Murphy would have worked, but
Even Michael Keaton was considered.
that I could see.
Yeah, they also had James Woods, and obviously Christopher Lloyd's name was on the list as well. In fact, he actually got called back. At first, Chris did not want to do the movie, but then someone said, "Don't leave any stone unturned." So he tried it out,
Right.
and of course, the producers loved him because he was very energetic and all that.
Yeah.
Now, here's some of the casting choices for Lorraine. Oh, my mistake. Tony Hudson, Barbara Howard. I don't know some of these actors. But here's someone for Marty. Charlie Sheen. Johnny Depp. Yeah, you can see where they're going with this. They wanted someone,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, Crispin Glover was already reading for George at this point. Because I liked his nervousness and his energy.
Yeah.
Of course, they finally get to, obviously, Lorraine, played by the lovely Leah Thompson. And they already casted Biff, and as well as Marty's other, siblings, brother and sister. But the actor that they chose eventually to play Marty McFly was actor Eric Stoltz, who was well known at this point for his performance in Mask. Immediately, they started shooting, and let's see here. Give me a second, folks. Give me a second. On November 26th through 30th, 1984. And they shot 5 weeks with Stoltz. And during those 5 weeks, they actually shot very big sequences. For example, the first big sequence they shot was, the DeLorean disappearing in the backlot at Twin Pikes Mall.
Yeah.
In fact, there's actually an image of, Doc and Marty, Eric Stoltz, in costume, reacting to the aftermath of the DeLorean disappearing for the first time. Then they started shooting stuff in the Hill Valley set, specifically the skateboard chase scene. And even from that, they went to obviously the interiors, like in the diner scene and even Doc Brown's living room, where Marty has the flyer. Now, they shot about 5 weeks of footage with Eric Stoltz when they noticed something was very wrong. Stoltz questioned everything about the character. In particular, why is the character doing this in the scene? Why is that? What is his motivation? And the director felt like it was like Eric was cast in a different movie than what we wrote. His comedy senses were not working, so he got together with Steven Spielberg, cut together a rough cut of the 5 weeks they shot with Stoltz, and showed it to Steven. Nobody laughed. The lights came up, and Spielberg was like, "Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. We're not getting the laughs. What do you want to do?"
Yeah.
Zemeckis had to make this horrible decision and fire Stoltz. Just in 5 weeks, but there was 2 things he had to do. One, he had to get the producers to go back to the creator of Family Ties to get Michael J. Fox to work something out. Second thing was he had to convince the studio to reshoot 5 weeks of footage. So it's interesting. This is now an interesting story. When they get to the meeting to the producer of Family Ties, the producer said, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. If you work around Michael's schedule and understand that Family Ties comes first because we need to have him for the taping, I will allow Michael to read the script." So he calls Michael into the office one day, hands him the script, and says, "Look, I want you to take this, read it when you get home, and tell me what you think." Michael takes the script, puts it in his head, and said, "Best script I ever read." In classic Michael J. Fox fashion.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so this would be now the most grueling, filming experience of his life.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. While this was happening, Zemeckis kept shooting, even with Stoltz. And the crew was totally aware that Zemeckis was just framing the shots, not too much focusing on Stoltz. So they could, still salvage some of those footage.
Right.
So, cut to a week of December, close to Christmas week. Before filming has even started, they're obviously going to take a break. So, Zemeckis calls Stoltz into his trailer and tells him the news that he's being replaced. Stoltz actually takes it pretty well because he didn't feel like, this was a movie that he was going to do.
Hmm.
He was just appeasing, obviously, his manager and some of the producers. So the next week, Michael J comes on the set and starts filming his sequences. But they decided to have a bit more fun with Michael J, especially with wardrobe fitting, because with Stoltz, he his costume sort of blended in with the 1950s look.
Right.
With Michael J. Fox, they wanted more humor with it, so you got the red light preserver, clearly the 1980s clothing, just to make sure they looked out of time.
Yeah.
And of course, this might cause a lot of friction with the cast, but actually it didn't. In fact, Michael J. and Christopher Lloyd got along very well. They were both in character, and they got along beautifully, and it shows in the film. But here's the thing: during this entire shoot, he would shoot up to a certain point on Family Ties, taping it. Then he would get into a car with a mattress in the back and drive him to the set. And he would shoot until like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Then they,
Wasn't it like he started on like shooting Family Ties at like 9 a.m.
yeah,
and then he worked until like 7 or something, and then he would go to shoot Back to the Future.
yeah, absolutely.
From what you've said and what I've read.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. And this went on for weeks. Yeah, they absolutely went on for weeks.
Yeah. Because like if it, it's got to be like when you're working on a big hit show like that, Family Ties, and then you're coming to shoot, you know, well, they didn't know this at the time, but what would be, you know, a box office trilogy, you know, it's kind of exhausting.
Well, yeah, and the thing was, they didn't know there was going to be a trilogy.
Well,
So
yeah,
I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a bit.
yeah.
In fact, here's a letter that Frank Marshall, one of the producers, got. And this is from Bob Gale. Apparently, there's a change in Michael J. Fox's Family Ties schedule. As we haven't already had enough nightmares, I learned on Monday that Family Ties is not taking the February 25th, March 1st hiatus originally promised. Thus, this screws up Michael J. Fox's schedule and our own. And discussing it with the situation with Dennis and then with Gary Goldberg, the producer and creator of Family Ties,
Mm-hmm.
Gary's agreed to let Michael off on the February 25th through 26th, which is the only time we're able to shoot the Hill house in Pasadena, which is Doc Brown's exterior house.
Right.
Unfortunately, I plan to finish up the 1955 Town Square material on February 25th. March 1st can no longer be adhered to that. So, they were having problems in production because, again, they were reshooting 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, Michael threw himself into the work. And in case if you guys have noticed watching the movie where he's actually sleeping, he's actually sleeping. He's not acting. Yeah, in fact, in his new book, Future Boy, there's photographs of him actually sleeping on the mattress, sometimes on the lawn. He even was sleeping in the trunk of a car because he was that tired.
That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely was.
I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, you know, I mean, it's funny how they even brought that into the movie. They made that fit into the into the movie.
Well, I think it just added to the realism, but also I
Yeah.
think they were just like, I think someone was like, just keep shooting, just keep shooting.
We'll fit it in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what was amazing happened next was this. After the principal photography was done, obviously they had to do, you know, second year shooting with the car scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Marshall was actually the producer, was actually the second year director. So you got to shoot all the scenes, that was happening on Twin Pines Mall,
Right.
especially with the chase scene. And as you can see, it's a spectacular footage. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But obviously, now they had to get the film done and out of the release date.
Yeah.
Originally, it was going to be released much later, but they decided to release the film on July 3rd. But of course, after all the film has happened, you had to edit the film.
Post production stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this is where Industrial Light and Magic comes into play, because the film has a lot of special effects, and they had to come up with new techniques, and they had to edit it at a very fast pace. Because again, because of the delays and also the reshooting, it puts the schedule back, a bit.
Yeah, folks, as you can tell, he knows a lot more about this than I do. So,
Yeah, I do because again of this wonderful book. Yeah, but also you had to have music, and of course, no film is ever completed without the score.
what a
And yeah, the score of the composer Alan Silverati actually had on this was spectacular. It's classic. And as you can see here, unless you can see this very well, they started playing around with some of the imagery, specifically the time travel effects,
yeah.
and that was done by again Industrial Light and Magic. Especially the producers liked the fire trail.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the producers felt that the time travel sequence should be instantaneous,
Hmm.
literally from occupying the same space, but from one point in time to another. Not like where, suddenly you're time traveling in New York and you're suddenly in London, which makes
Yeah.
no sense because that's how time works.
No. No, not really.
Yeah. So, originally the film was going to be on July 19th, as I could see in this particular ad, July 19th. Sorry if you can see that.
Yeah.
And of course, they have to have test screenings just to make sure, audience is going to like it. Now, they didn't let anyone know what the film was about, the audience. They just knew that Michael J. Fox was in it and Christopher Lloyd. They didn't say anything about what the film was about. And what happened next after that test screening was this. When the cards were tallied, they received 96% in the top two categories, which were excellent and very good. So now the producers knew they had a hit in their hand. But still, I just figure out, if the box office returns are going to be like that. Before any of that happens, the next thing you have to do is promotion. And they need the best artists to do this. And several concerts were created by the late, great Drew Struzan. In fact, here's some of them right here.
That's awesome. That's
Drew,
that's great
yeah,
work.
and Drew did a very, detailed, hyper, realistic look.
Yeah.
But of course, he settled on this particular image right here.
That one I really like.
Yeah, which, by the way, Michael J. Fox never posed for.
I mean, how can
Drew,
you really?
Yeah, Drew actually posed himself in this. And actually, just took Michael's face and put it on top of that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. But now the box office comes, and here's actually the weekend grosses. Back to the Future was number one at 11,152,500 in 1,420 theaters. Number two is Pale Rider. Rambo: First Blood Part Two was number three. Cocoon was number four, and The Emerald Forest was number five. And it made so much money that summer of 1985, it was crazy. In fact, it was so crazy that fans were starting to write in and saying we want a sequel. Now, the producers were thinking about doing a sequel, but not telling the directors yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, the meeting was had, and they discussed the possibility of a sequel. And we're going to do it even without Zemeckis or Gale. So, when the VHS came out in 1986, it added the words "to be continued" at the end of the movie. But here's the craziest part. Before any of this happens, when they were starting to choose on the title, the head of Universal Studios did not like the title. In fact, the title that he suggested was Spaceman from Pluto. Is that as B movie as you can get?
Yeah.
When the filmmakers saw that, they were flabbergasted, and Zemeckis said to Spielberg, "Steven, you have to stop him." So I'm going to read you the letter that Steven wrote, which is quite something. So just give me a second. I'm going to find it. Ah, here it is. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. It's a lot to go through this, folks. It's a lot to go through. Oh, by the way, along with this book, you should get this cover, A Match Made in Space. It's a great book. It's a great book. It's got a lot of great secrets here and there.
Which most of you all know, that's George McFly's book.
Yes, and that was quite something. Even the back of it sounded cool.
Yeah.
And that's in here someplace. I know it. Oh, and here's the reflective picture of Marty and his brother and sister.
Yep.
Yeah, here's the. Apparently, I don't have that memo because I have a memo of Sid Steinberg, who is the head of Universal, asking about changing the title.
Now here's something interesting, which I'm not sure if people, well, everyone out there, you know, if all our fans want to know or if they knew about it. I don't know if it says it in there, but during the, Enchantment Under the Sea dance, when he was doing Johnny Be Good, was that him actually playing the guitar?
It actually was.
Okay. All right.
Which is something he actually still does for his charity benefits, for his Parkinson's charity benefits.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Michael J. Fox was really playing the guitar, and he was so good. In fact,
Yeah, there it is. One of my
yeah,
favorite
so
parts of the movie.
yeah, it's also a great song just to begin with.
Oh, 100%.
Uh, yeah, the way he played it was fantastic. Yeah,
Except for the
seeing, yeah, that was too much 80s rock.
end.
They weren't ready for it.
But their kids are going to love it.
So we were doing it the whole time. We were just quoting the lines or mouthing the lines while we were on the
Yeah.
watching the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I forgot about this little doohickey. This was actually from part two, but we can cover that in another episode. But I did want to show off this little thing. This is a mock-up poster of Jaws 19. This time it's really personal.
Wow.
It's directed by Max Spielberg.
Wow.
Yeah, who would have thought that this film would actually become a pop culture phenomenon, which led to two sequels, comics, video games, and a popular Universal ride. I must have ridden this ride at least a couple of times at Universal Studios back in the 90s.
I may have done it once. I can't remember. But I'm at Universal. I maybe have done it once.
Yeah, and of course, for the 40th anniversary, Universal Studios backlot was actually redressing it to make it look like Hill Valley
Mm-hmm.
of 1955. And of course, reenactors and all that, but you could tell how much the film truly means to us and how the trilogy means to us because it's timeless. It's pure fantasy, it's pure comedy, and takes us out of our mundane lives.
Yeah. I mean, that has to be, for me at least, I mean, it's probably my top top three franchises. Well, trilogies, I should say.
Yeah,
No, but you're right. I mean, just seeing that movie again, when I mean, to me, I don't know if it felt that way between you and Feller, but kind of felt like when we were watching that movie, we were kind of back. Well, we were kind of back in 1985 for at least a couple hours.
I actually did feel that, because there's certain things, obviously, in 1985 that obviously don't exist anymore, you
Yeah,
know, and it really was a different time. And that's the key word, time here. But it also makes you think, and the film does this very correctly. It does look at, the generation gap a bit differently, saying, well, okay, if I did go and, my parents, when they were my age,
hmm
you know, what are they like?
yeah,
So it does pose that question, and you just never know. You never know what your parents were like when you were a kid. They may have done things that you did, you know, or they might not have. Like, for example, Lorraine, I mean, drinking and smoking. I mean, you could tell she was already doing all that. I was like, okay, she's not Miss Perfect. That's fine. She's a bit more relatable. But Mario was just completely shocked by her attitude because you don't see your parents like that.
no, no, you don't. I
No, no,
mean,
especially not Lorraine.
when you get a vision of what your parents are like now, I mean, you would never think like, oh, what did they do back then? Like, were they like us? Were they, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, were they maybe bad influences at times? You know, um, but it's time. I mean, you never know you never know what it was like back then for our parents, and probably will never know.
Yeah, I do think Marty did improve his family's lives, though. I think he really did that, very well.
Without
Well, he
me.
had to. Yeah, because if you think about, before he went back in time and changed everything, he wasn't living a great life. I mean, he has girlfriend and all that, but he couldn't relate to his parents, and even when trying to interact with them, he was like, "What happened to you? What happened to you both? What drove you to be like these?"
Mm,
Because George had no spine, first of all, especially against Biff, who's been a bully his whole life, and that's the
yeah,
thing. Bullies do come in, any age.
yeah, they do.
But George definitely needed confidence, and you know, Marty even saw that when he went back in time. He's like, I gotta give this guy confidence.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, this is probably has nothing to do with like time or anything, but like, if you go back in time, you see your father, you see your mother. Obviously, they don't know who you are when you go back in time and meet them, but the thing like you kind of have to wonder is when Marty went back in time, like when he went to the present, you kind of have to wonder like, does his parents ever like would your parents ever remember meeting Marty back then? You know what I'm trying to say?
No, I do, but you also remember this was 30 years,
No, I
you know.
know. Yeah.
So I don't think they would remember.
If it even happened, I mean, you just
Yeah,
you just don't know.
yeah. I don't think they obviously they did remember because he just appeared in their lives for that 1 week. They never saw him again. So, but they probably just didn't forget the lessons that they learned from him.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't think when they went back to the present, they recognized him because again, 30 years, so much has happened. How could you? But again, okay, I don't know if it's a plot hole, but again, I just choose to ignore it.
Yeah, no, no, no. I don't. I mean, I really didn't think about it until seeing that movie when he went back to the present. I mean, your face, your son's face, kind of has that same face, back, 30 years ago. I mean,
And yeah, they did call
it's
himself Marty. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So whether it was a plot hole or not, I mean, I don't know. It just had me wondering, and I don't know if everyone, all of you fans out there, have it, wondering too. But
you know what? I don't think they care. I don't think anybody
I'm
cares.
just I'm just pointing it out. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of has something to think about. But
Eh. What else I think was great was Marty and Doc's friendship in this movie, obviously in the whole trilogy, because Strickland, my God, the guy never had hair in 85 or 55. What the hell?
yeah,
He was like, "Stay away from Doctor Emmett Brown," and I'm like, "This is really Marty's only friend, if you think about it."
yeah. I mean, see, like even right there, like he remembered Marty from 30 years ago. You know,
Yeah,
when he wrote the letter to him 30 years ago, and then when he went back to the present, he saw Marty and took out the letter.
yeah, because it was definitely he knew that was definitely important, especially when the lines depends on. He's like,
Yeah.
well, what was it about? So it's Doc's natural curiosity because he knows something happened, especially when he saw the videotape.
Hmm.
You know, because he knows something happened. So he's like, well, what happened?
Right.
What happens to me after that? So, and he probably figured the fact that this this young kid cares about me so much, you know, really tries to warn me. I have to know what it is.
Yeah.
So he probably kept it, and when he got to 85, just taped up and saw what happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a cheat, but again, that just shows how much Doc really trusted Morty.
Yeah, how strong their relationship is.
Yeah, in fact, it really struck me. The line strikes me a bit harder this time, especially when he says to Marty, "I'm not gonna be sad to see you go. You really given me a difference in my life. Give me something to shoot for."
Hmm.
That's gonna be hard, waiting 30 years to talk about what's happened the past few days. The line hits harder, especially when you think Doc's still dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great film, which launched a great, franchise. Just great cast and crew. It was fantastic.
And especially, and it's, what you were talking about before, the score and the soundtrack. I mean, it's
Uh,
just perfection. Huey Lewis, um, you know, Power of Love, you know,
yeah,
uh,
back in time.
Back in Time. It was funny. He made that little cameo in the beginning, in the beginning of the movie, when he was trying out at his school. When Marty,
I'm sorry, fellas. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud. I'm like, oh my god,
um, like, really?
this is Huey Lewis.
I know.
Yeah, and I had to say, I still want to drive the car. I want to drive it.
Yeah.
What's amazing about that car is it's obviously still at the Universal Studios tour, as well as the other cars that appeared in the films.
Hmm.
And I just completely marveled at that, just looking at it for the first time. It was like, wow, this is a piece of cinematic history that I grew up watching.
Yep.
And I still listen to the scores while I'm in my car driving. Of course, I'm not going up to 80 miles per hour. I'm not doing that.
Let's hope not.
No, 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 no. I ain't doing that. I don't
But
even drive. I don't even drive around in the mall. I don't do that either. I thought about it, but I don't do that.
well, he's not up to 88 miles an hour. I mean,
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I would crash into something. So no, absolutely not.
yeah, but no, it's definitely one of the greatest trilogies out there. I mean, you said it. I mean, pretty much one of the, you know, greatest franchises, like trilogies I grew up with.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I had always wanted a good video game adaptation of it.
Hmm.
And we got one obviously on 2015 for the PS5, PS3, PS4 actually. I keep forgetting which system it is. Keep forgetting. And obviously, it was one of the Telltale's games, touch and point. But still, I was intrigued because again, you got some of the voice actors back. The story was engaging, and it was just another time travel adventure with Doc and Marty. What more could you want? But just to show you, that's how much beloved this franchise is, and people are still fascinated about it. And this is why, again, people want the Back to the Future ride to return to Universal Studios because it's part of their childhood.
Yeah,
And I definitely want it back because I want to go back on it again.
I definitely want it back. I mean, if I did go on it, I mean, I I don't remember it at the time, but I would definitely want it back just to go on it at least once, to see what it was like again.
Yeah. But if not, at least it was a special moment in time.
Yeah, I mean the character. I mean, we didn't really talk about much was Biff.
Oh, yeah.
He I mean, you told me the other day when we saw the movie that he's a really nice guy in real life.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
one of the sweetest guys apparently, and he's a stand-up comic.
yeah, I think I remember that at some point. Um, but no, he played the part of Biff really, really well. Um, it was funny, and like in one of the cafe scenes where Marty was gonna punch Biff, and then Biff all the way just like stands all the way up, and then like it's so much bigger than Marty in that scene.
Yeah, because let's face it, and Thomas Wilson, big guy, very he's towering over Michael J.
Yeah.
I think Michael's about my height. I think
Hmm.
so. Yeah, I would find him intimidating. I'm like, my God. But I was like, good for you, Marty, for punching Biff. Good for you. Yeah. Obviously, I think we'll obviously talk about the other two films when those anniversaries come up, obviously. But
Yeah.
again, that's gonna be a couple years down the line.
Yeah. I mean, you said it was the second one was released in 87, right?
No,
89,
89.
89, 89.
And this was released in November of '89. Originally, it was going to be released in September. Summer. But with the other films like Batman, License to Kill, Ghostbusters 2,
Hmm.
Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, it would have been lost in the
Yeah.
crowd. So, like, let's just release it in November, and then we'll release, the third one in July of 1990.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll talk about those another time.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's got to be it for us for looking back at one of the first century of a very beloved and still enduring franchise.
Yes, if all of you enjoyed this video about how it was made, please let us know. Your comments on the movie, what you thought of it, the characters, the cast, the
What's
story.
your what's your favorite lines from the movie? Bless you.
Thank you. Well, it was a cough, but thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what's your favorite lines from the movie?
Yes. Favorite story, favorite line, favorite song, from the soundtrack.
Yeah, you
Pretty
still
much.
can't beat Power of Love or Back in Time. I mean, come on.
No, you can't. Um, yeah, I mean, even like you know, the main Back to the Future song, like
Yeah, the theme.
the theme. Yeah, that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my favorite line.
Okay. All right. All right.
What the hell's a gigawatt?
Oh, now I
Come
gotta
on,
think.
yeah, you gotta think very
Now I
hard.
gotta think of it now. Oh man.
It can't be Great Scott because that's too obvious.
Damn. Okay. Um. So many good lines in that movie. Okay. All right. Here's one. I have a bunch of them, but here's Okay. My name is Darth Vader. I um
I'm an
I
extraterrestrial from
I'm
the
an
planet Vulcan.
extraterrestrial from the planet Vulcan.
I did the Vulcan salute.
Yep.
I was like, oh,
That's
that's
like
genius.
one of the
That's genius.
greatest lines out there. And
And obviously this influenced George to write his book,
yeah.
which sounds actually pretty awesome. Just to see the cover jacket. The synopsis. I was
Yeah.
like, I hope somebody wrote a fan fiction for this because it sounds like a great plot.
Oh, that's
But
amazing.
yeah. Well, folks, definitely type to us in the comments if you have a favorite line or a favorite story in the trilogy or a favorite part. or if you love the story or whatever. And of course, as always, hit the like button and subscribe. And to the cast and crew of Back to the Future, happy anniversary.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. I'm Ian Miller,
I'm Andrew Smith.
and this has been Me Talk with Mel and Smith. Have a good night.
Night, guys.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, just hit that like button and subscribe.